Hamburglar. Hamburglar, no burglar. Don't burgle my burgers.
Swiper, no swiping.
Shoot him. He's a burglar.
Ash and Zach are super smart. They went to college and learned a bunch of stuff. And Bo and Andrew didn't go to college and were able to sidestep mountains of unnecessary debt. What happens when you put them together and you try to make them learn? Well, grab your friends. Let's listen together on Get Dumped On an Info Dump Podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 63.
He's either way too quiet or way too loud. There's no middle.
To the podcast that I do with my friends called Get Dumped On, an Info Dump Podcast. I will be your intro master. You thought I was going to say host because I'm not, because then I'll go like, oh, he did the little fumble again. He did it. He caught himself. He caught himself before it was going to happen. So guess what?
Yeah, instead you said intro master, two words that I don't know that anyone has ever said
Exactly.
next to each other.
I don't even know what that is, to be completely honest.
It's me, Bo, your intro master, the guy who
Maestro.
who just guides you in. I'm your foreplay to this podcast, right? Before we go right into it, you know what I'm saying?
I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Perfect.
I really hope this is someone's first episode and they're very confused.
Or turned on.
They're going to be disappointed, I think.
Yeah, it's me. Guess what, guys?
Wait till you hear the topic. They're going to be very disappointed.
Oh, it's about butts, isn't it? Please tell me it's about butts.
Can't confirm nor deny.
Oh, okay. I'll wait till I introduce you and then you can tell me what you're doing. Anyway, hey, I'm Bo. How you guys doing? Yeah, I'm one of your hostess with the mostest, but we're not hosting. Don't worry. I'm just here.
There you go.
Here.
There it is.
I'm a guy.
Remember when you said you didn't say that and then you just said it?
Yeah, it happens.
I remember that.
I mean, are we all just hosts really at this point? Like, it's our show. Like, we're hosting. Like, I host
To the intro.
You're one of the hosts.
I host this part. I'm hosting this part, the intro part.
Andrew's the dumper.
I'm the
and
intro
you're the
hoster.
host.
Yeah. Like,
He's the intro master.
host.
Come on, keep up.
Okay, there we go. Anyway, I'm here with Ash. Hey, Ash.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing all right. She's another host.
Oh,
And we got the other host, Zach.
I think you fell asleep.
Either that or dead. Ash, can you go poke him with the stick and make sure he's breathing?
Zach?
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 I hear him talking in real life.
Okay. Oh, hey everyone, what's up? It's me, Zach. Go with birds. Hey,
Oh, he said the cat did something and now his mic isn't working. I'm keeping all this in, by the way.
So, how you doing, Zach?
We're gonna wait till he comes back.
I'm doing fine. Okay.
Oh my God, Zach, you sound so much more sexy.
All right. I don't know.
What did you say? What the hell is that?
That's my sick Zach impression. That's when he's sick.
Ugh.
Anyway, are we still going?
We should probably wait for Zach.
Okay.
We just took a 15-minute break to get Zach's thing fixed. He's back. Bo
Okay, it
introduced
did
him.
not take 15 minutes.
Zach, you weren't introduced yet. I'm here with Zach.
Hey, it's me. I'm Zach.
Hey, Zach. Glad to hear
Oh,
your
look
voice.
who finally showed up.
Yeah, a little late than never.
Well, I have been here the whole time.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear you.
Well, I was here for a little bit and then I died and now I'm back.
Oh my God, it's like Palpatine.
And somehow Zach returned.
Somehow Zach returns.
Somehow Zach returned. And today, dumping all of us, today is our friend, the one, the only, the man who claims he plays hockey, Andrew.
I have never once claimed that. I'm kidding. I do that. I do it well.
Hey, Andrew, how are you?
Hey guys.
Hey, how
What's
are
the
you?
What's
topic
up?
today?
Hello.
I'm so interested to know the topic today.
I'm supposed to ask them that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just excited.
Bo, do you have any questions for me, Bo? The Mr. What was it? The intro master?
Yeah. The intro. I said a lot of things. They kind of filter in and out of my brain. It happens.
Yeah.
We go. One information goes in, other information goes out. It's just what it is.
It just
This
takes
is
its
the one where you
place.
just start a sentence and just kind of hope you catch back up with it wherever it's going.
Oh yeah.
I think that's how most of his intros usually go.
And then once it's left his mouth, it's gone.
Oh, he
forever.
doesn't stop. He doesn't stop it.
Yeah.
Like it comes out and it just starts flowing out like spaghetti falling out of his pockets.
How many times that happens? I hate it. I had to buy some
Pocket
new
skinny.
pants.
Anyway, hello. My name is Andrew. Today will be my episode. Today's going to be an interesting one for a lot of people. I don't know how the reception's going to be because this topic is not very well taken by some, but not very cared for.
You're getting controversial?
Oh my God.
No.
Are you going to be telling us all the reasons why the Holocaust didn't happen? Because that's what it kind of sounds like you're setting up for.
You know, it kind of does sound like that.
Do you think those people on January 6th were patriots? Is that what you're
Oh my
getting
God. All right, see you next week. No. A few weeks ago, our dear sweet Zach, please raise your hand.
Oh, look, I see him. He's raising his hand.
That's Zach, everyone. somehow came across a random post on Reddit that name dropped this very podcast, which was very cool to see. That user was looking for podcasts similar to ours, also certain topics they wanted to hear about. So first, we want to shout out that Reddit user. What's up? We're not going to say out your username because Zach refuses to tell us what his username is. So if we don't know his, they can't know yours. But thank you for listening. I know you're probably listening now, and we know what country you live in because we kind of peeped your profile and we want to visit very badly. So hello, first off. Do you want to say hi?
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, you saying hi. Oh, hey.
Also, I tried to respond to that post, but then the podcaster subreddit deleted my comment because our account didn't have enough karma yet. And my Reddit profile is in our Discord server. You can find it. You don't have to look very hard.
Is it?
Yeah.
Shit. Okay. Bo, get on that while we're recording this.
Oh, I have nothing better to do. You got it.
Okay. But in the meantime, so they did have a list of things they did want to learn about more. They didn't even say like that we need to do it. They just had podcasts that are similar to this, which is ours, and then some other stuff on there. So I chose one of those things.
All right, what do you got?
We here at Get Dumped On are always open for suggestions. And today we're kicking things off with our first Reddit suggestion. We're talking about clowns.
I did just tell somebody that I don't take requests.
Who?
I'm not going to name drop.
We take requests all the time.
Yeah, we do. But it was
We
a
say
topic
it at
that I
the end
didn't
of every
It was a
episode.
topic that I didn't want to do. So I was just like, oh, wait, we don't take requests.
What topic? What, like,
I'll tell you about it later.
okay. How do you guys feel about clowns? Hold nothing back.
Hate them.
Okay.
I don't like the aesthetic of clowns. I don't like what they do. I'm sorry.
I could care less. I could take it or leave clowns. They're just clowns.
See, okay, right before I asked you guys this question, I said some people hate them and some people don't give a shit about them. There's really no in between. That's exactly the two to catch.
And some people really like clowns. So I think I'm open-minded. I'm open-minded. Get me going. Like tell me about clowns. Get me on the side of the clowns. I'm looking to have my mind changed.
Send in the clowns.
But first, Ash, how do you feel about it?
I feel fine about, I don't love clowns. I don't know. I can appreciate the performance aspect. I like a balloon animal, but like, they're kind of creepy, right?
Yes.
I mean, Pennywise is a character for a reason.
Yeah. Also, I'm sorry if I sound a little nasally. I'm getting over sinus infection.
I feel like there's something inherently creepy about clowns.
There is, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. But before I did any of this research, I knew very little about clowns other than pretty much what Ash said: balloon animals, murder. That's about it.
You bozo.
Yeah. So
Happy clown, sad clown.
What came first, Bozo the
Circus.
clown or calling somebody a bozo?
we might actually cover that. Actually,
Oh.
well, I don't know. Did we talk about the origins of the word bozo before?
First of all, can I stop you right there? Fuck that clown. Fuck that saying, and just everything associated with it, because that's when you hear a name when your first name is Bo, and all you hear that growing up is idiots calling it, and they think they're so funny.
We're like, oh, bozo. That's like when you call Zach Attack and then he gets mad at you.
Oh, fuck you.
See?
It's Bozo with a Zack Attack podcast hour here to
Hey.
get you in your commute. Hey.
Bozo and Zach Attack on 94.4, The Dump. All right. So before I knew this, I knew very little about clowns apart from Pennywise eating kids. Is that what he did? Did he eat them?
Sort of.
He at least
It's more
killed
like it's like
I thought he bit
he
one of
like
them.
takes their like energy and their like souls. He like eats their souls because he's like some funky cosmic spider.
Okay.
Ah.
Oh, so he's
it
not a clown.
sustains
So
him.
that doesn't.
He just takes the form of a clown to lure children because they have the tastiest souls.
I also know Pennywise made that song that goes, whoa.
Especially every time Anaheim scores, which they didn't do a lot this year. God,
Yeah, they
shots
didn't.
fired.
Oh,
There, yeah, it's fine. And then, of course, everyone's favorite clown, Fizbo from Modern Family. Shout out to Fizbo, legend. Never ate any kids, to my knowledge.
or the best clown, Dr. Roxo, the rock and roll clown.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about writing anything about Dr. Roxo. You are correct.
Roxo, the rock and roll clown.
I do cocaine. All right. So speaking of being scared of clowns, though, that's my first thing I wanted to talk about was that in general, people are usually not terrified of them or terrified of them. So
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I just looked up a picture of Dr. Roxo and it's wild.
Have you not seen Metalocalypse?
You never seen Dr. Roxo, the rock
I
and roll
don't,
clown?
I guess I
Oh,
haven't.
you have to watch Metalocalypse, dude. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's great.
It's about a death metal band that essentially they're so popular that they run all world economies, and every album they put out, like, people lose their minds, and essentially they rule the world. But they have a clown that hangs out with them named Dr. Roxo, who's in like a 70s metal hair band, and he's amazing. He does cocaine. Anyway, so back to it. Yeah, clowns are usually really scary for some people. A survey from Chapman University in California found that 8% of Americans admit they're terrified of clowns. As far as personal fears go, it's in the top 4, right there with death, terrorism, and above global warming.
Okay, I mean, you can't choose what you're afraid of.
Yeah, I mean, I
that's true.
feel like clowns are a more immediate threat than global warming.
Yeah, that we know.
At least they were in 2016 or whenever all those people were dressing up like clowns.
Yeah, that was fucked up. Even the people who are supposed to like clowns, children, supposedly don't, because in 2008, a widely reported University of Sheffield, England survey of 250 children between the ages of 4 and 16 found that most children disliked and even feared images of clowns. The BBC's report on the study featured a child psychologist who broadly declared, quote, "Very few children like clowns. They are unfamiliar and come from a different era. They don't look funny. They just look odd."
Interesting. I'm concerned that this episode is going to make our one fan who's posted about us online stop listening to the podcast.
Well, okay. That's why I'm getting this out of the way first, because
Okay.
if we just get it out first and say, hey, you know, yeah, they're scary. People don't like them. It's fine. But I will say, after researching this, I have a lot of notes from this point on. I learned a lot, and honestly, pretty fucking cool.
All right.
I think it's going to surprise some people. Much like every shitty wedding speech ever made, I will also start this podcast with a definition. What is a clown? Let's start there. What is a clown? What is a clown to you guys?
It's a metal hat that you wear on your head.
It's a cone.
A clown to me
No, it was just a crown.
is...
It was a go. It was a goof.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, okay.
A clown to me is an entertainer, like a joke act. I feel like they are like part of like a circus.
So you immediately picture the circus variant.
Yeah.
Okay. But what about you?
Like jester, like olden times, a performer, not an entertainer, a
Okay.
performer. It's art. It's art for him.
Or like on a stage in a variety show.
Okay, cool. So I'm glad you said jester, because we're actually going to talk about that very shortly. But as the official definition, Webster's Merriam Dictionary or whatever, a clown is a person who performs comedy and arts in a state of open-mindedness using physical comedy, typically while wearing distinct makeup or costuming and reversing folkway norms. The art of performing as a clown is known as clowning or buffoonery, which is great.
That's
And
fantastic.
the term clown may be used synonymously with his predecessors like jester, buffoon, joker, fool, or harlequin, which is
All right.
fantastic. I love clowning and buffoonery are actual definitions of what clowns do.
I love me some buffoonery.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of buffoonery.
Big fan of Harley Quinn. That you said right?
Big
Oh, no, you said
buffoon.
Harlequin. Oh, sorry.
Harlequin, yeah, it's.
I
yeah,
wonder if that's where she gets her name.
Interesting. Yes, it's obvious. Clowns have a diverse tradition with significant variations in costume and performance. The most recognizable clowns are those that commonly perform in the circus, like Ash mentioned, characterized by colorful wigs, red noses, and oversized shoes.
Yeah, that's the funniest one.
Yeah, big shoes.
Well, you
That's
know
a
what they
clown
say
thing.
about a guy with big shoes?
Big socks.
Very big
Also got
socks.
A big wiener as
Tiny
well.
wiener. Oh,
You know what they say about people with big shoes?
Mm-hmm.
You need really long shoelaces.
yeah. And they
Oh, man,
also,
that's so
they're in
true.
crippling debt because those are very expensive shoes.
It's like ballerinas.
I don't know how it's about-
My shoelace budget is out of control.
Well, speaking of out of control, clowns have also played roles in theater and folklore, like the court jesters of the Middle Ages and the ritual clowns of various indigenous cultures, which are
Yeah, this
very,
is
very interesting.
Are you
this
gonna-
is the
do you
most
have more
I've
on this?
Yeah, I do. This is the most interesting part, I believe, on this one. Personal opinion. And when I started diving into this, I actually had to pull myself out because I would have continued only with those ones and not covered anything else, because that's how deep I started to go into this. They're very, very cool. Their significant roles in society evolving alongside changing cultural norms and artistic expressions. So that's clowns.
We know that clowns are the leaders of cultural development. They're the ones who are really pushing boundaries.
I mean, it's the art community at large, right? I feel like anyone who's a part of the arts is usually into reversing social norms and pushing against like normative stuff.
Well, so Zach, you say that as sort of a joke, but it's if you, as we get through this, you're going to realize that you're kind of right. Because clowns, when they started, they were, I won't even get to that right now, but know that you're almost correct.
The jester is the only one who can speak truth to power.
Oh, so true.
Going back to what is a clown, Bo brought up a jester, Zach, you just brought up a jester. There is a difference between clowns and jesters.
Oh, tell us the difference.
Clowns, a familiar comic character of pantomime and circus known by their distinctive makeup and costume, ludicrous antics, and buffoonery. Real word.
This is a great series of words. Like,
Yes.
you put all those words together. Love it.
It rolls off the tongue. Whose purpose is to induce hearty laughter. The clown, unlike the traditional fool or court jester, usually performs a set routine characterized by broad graphic humor, absurd situations, and vigorous physical action. Where jesters, they didn't do stage stuff, they didn't do routines. They were just assholes. A clown makes a fool of himself. A jester makes a fool of the audience. So a jester is an entertainer who jokes and mocks people and will improvise on the spot, where the clowns are more of a set routine thing.
Yeah, like there's a I think with jesters it's more like it's the person, right? As opposed to this clown character.
Kind of. Like the jester would still be wearing a crazy outfit, but instead of performing in front of everyone, they would just be walking through the crowd, being a catty little bitch.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Doing crowd work.
So they're doing crowd work. They're making fun of everybody. And
Don Rickles style.
Exactly. They were Bill Burr walking through a crowd, just pointing out people.
Just
and
constantly
making fun of them.
just a roasting, being a roast.
Exactly. The roast master jester.
There you go.
So who on this podcast is a clown and who in this podcast is a jester?
I'll let Ash decide that
Why me?
because I trust your opinion.
I feel like me and Zach are clowns. Bo's a jester.
I want to say that Bo's a jester, but he usually sticks in his lane of loads, Simpsons reference, baseball.
Which I already did a Simpsons reference earlier in this podcast.
He
did.
bullies the audience on the regular. I think that qualifies him as a jester.
Okay.
And I will continue, you motherfuckers.
He gets the most audience response. We'll say that.
Good or bad.
Good or bad. You know who we're talking about. So I made a helpful little diagram here, audio diagram here for you. So clown equals mocks/hates self. Jester equals mocks/hates the world. Therefore, clown equals emo. Jester equals goth.
All right.
Pretty good.
I think it's a good comparison.
I don't think I'm emo or goth is the main issue.
I'm too happy.
You don't hate yourself?
Oh, actually, I do. But I also love myself the most, too. It's a weird dynamic.
Well, then that would be jester. That would be a jester because if you love yourself the most, everyone else sucks and you're the best. Jester all the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Ash and Zach are the clowns and me and Bo are the jesters.
That means that I went to college.
Clown college.
Clown college.
You know who also went to clown college? Our friend Justin.
Homer
But
Simpson.
that's a different story.
Oh, you did?
Shout out to Justin.
Man, Justin went to clown college and he's not on the clown episode. What are we doing?
I don't know. We fucked up. So the word clown actually first appeared in 1560.
I wish you were here, Justin.
Me too.
I do.
From fun little Iceland, from the Icelandic word kluni. Translation, a clumsy person.
George Clooney?
George Clooney,
Wow.
I didn't know he was from Iceland.
his last name translates to clown in Icelandic. It's pretty crazy. That's probably why he dropped out of the public eye. But 1560, that's not when clowns were started. It's actually a long fucking time ago. Clowns have a rich history that date back thousands of years, evolving from various cultural traditions into the diverse forms that we see today. The most ancient clowns have been found in the 5th dynasty of Egypt around 2400 BCE. Unlike court jesters, clowns have traditionally served as socio-religious and psychological roles. And this next thing, I read it in an article, and I wish I knew more about what this next sentence means. And traditionally, the roles of priest and clown have been held by the same persons.
Oh, okay.
Somebody wrote this down, and I don't know what the fuck. I Googled.
Yeah, you can't
my
just
ass
say
off.
that.
You can't just say something like that and not show me more, because I want to know like what the fuck that means. but I didn't want to leave it out of this podcast because I read that and it confused the shit out of me.
Can you imagine going into a Catholic church and there's just a clown in there and he's like, tell me your sins. And you're like, oh my God.
tell me your sins. Like honks his nose.
And instead of making you do Hail Marys, he bonks you
And
with
he
a
sprays
squeaky
you
hammer.
with his flower.
Sprays you with his flower, yeah.
That's how they anoint you with the holy water, the little flowers full of holy water.
Baptizes you, and you just get squirted with the thing.
You walk into the confessional and you sit down and there's a whoopee cushion. Well, in anthropology, the term clown has been extended to comparable jester or fool characters in non-Western cultures. So a society in which such clowns have an important position are termed clown societies. And a clown character involved in a religious or ritual capacity is known as a ritual clown, also known as a Pueblo clown.
Ritual clown is
Ritual clown.
Not an image that I like.
Very loaded term.
It's very loaded and it sounds scary, but honestly, they're the coolest ones in this whole podcast. The clown society one is very interesting. Clown society is a term used in anthropology and sociology for an organization of comedic entertainers who have formalized roles in a cultural society. So it's a union, I guess. I don't. Maybe
A clownion?
it's a clown
It's a
society.
clown.
It's literally an anthropological term apparently, and there's been multiple books written on it. In a sense of how clowns function in their culture is two things. One, a clown shows what is wrong with the ordinary way of doing things, and two, a clown shows how to do ordinary things the wrong way.
The missile knows where it is because it knows where it isn't.
Exactly. Members of a clown society may dress in special costumes reserved for clowns, which is often a ridiculously extreme or improper form of normal dress. Some members paint their body with horizontal black and white stripes, which represent a skeleton, and I think that's pretty cool.
Dressing up as a skeleton at any time, I think is rad.
Dia de los Muertos is
Yep.
like my
It's never
favorite
a bad
holiday
idea.
to see, like the Dia de los Muertos, celebrations in Mexico. But what if they had Dia de los Payaso?
Is that the word for clown?
That's clown, yeah.
That's clown. Yeah.
That's a really interesting concept of like how clowns are used as a societal tool to describe what is correct by showing what is incorrect.
I think that's why they tried to aim them at kids later on, because they're like, look at that clown. He's doing something he shouldn't be doing.
Don't you do
In
that.
reality,
You don't want to be like
he's
that
just-
clown.
He's just goofing around. He's being a goofy little guy.
Yeah, you can only fit 4, maybe 5 people in a car.
When you get a handkerchief, make sure it's not so long because that's silly.
Well, so you guys are all describing current clowns, but let's move back to,
Yeah, what did clowns used to do?
while in their costume, clowns have special permission from their society to parody or criticize defective aspects of their own culture.
Back to what Zach said.
Yes, so they are always required to be funny. In the case of the jester at the English royal court with his cap of bells and pig's bladder stick, don't know what that means. He was allowed to
Obviously, it's a pig's bladder
it's a
stick.
pig's bladder on a stick.
I'm looking this up. I'm
He-
looking
He
this
was
up.
he was allowed to make fun of, be indelicate, and sometimes downright rude to members of the royal family and their entourage without fear of reprisal. Other persons living within the same culture nearly always recognize a clown when they see one, but seldom consciously understand what the clowns do for society. The typical explanation is they're just a goofy little guy.
You're just
That
a goofy little guy.
Is such a
Honk, honk.
scary line to walk because you have to be funny. So if you say something that's not funny enough and it's just
Dead.
rude, you're dead.
Well, that depends. Are
This
you a
is
clown?
like these. This
or
is like
are
all
you a
these comedians
jester?
these days.
I mean, a jester. In this
All
case.
these comedians these days who are like, "Oh, I'm being canceled for saying things," but comedians are like the real. The comedians are like the real like truth tellers in society, and so like I can't believe you're canceling me for like just like speaking truth about the situation of the world, but all they're doing is like ranting about how you can't like be racist anymore, and then it's like they're like forgetting to actually tell jokes. They're just like, I used to think that people were the way that they were born, but now you could be whatever you want. That's crazy. And it's like, that's not a joke. You're just being rude.
Well, so I think obviously there was probably a few court jesters that got their heads lopped off, but from what I understand, it's they put that person in the room to be the guy who can say things that other people wouldn't say with total anonymity because they were dressed up. And I think it was really welcomed. Like everyone needs to be put in their own place. And it seems like the jester was the reason for that.
And laughter is the best medicine.
And the clown was there to make people laugh.
Okay, he would bonk people with the inflated bladder, and it would make a funny noise. There's seldom things funnier than getting hit in the head with a pig bladder. It was inflated.
Bonk. And inflate. Oh God. You're like, there was pee in there. Like, okay.
I imagine in my mind, it sounds really similar to when you get hit with like a rubber dodgeball.
I like that though. It's gross.
Andrew, pipe in the sound of a rubber dodgeball.
Okay, I'll Google it. I'll see if I can find one.
Pipe in the bonk sound.
Yeah, I'm gonna type in pig bladder bonk sound and see if anything comes up. If it doesn't, then after I finish the sentence, a rubber ball is gonna hit you in the ears. Bo,
yes.
Did I hear you ask how people become clowns?
Yeah, how do people become clowns?
Oh, good question. Clown societies usually train new members to become clowns. The training normally takes place by an apprentice system, kind of like the Jedi or the Sith.
Or a tattoo artist.
I like the
Jedi and Sith comparison better though.
Although there may be some schooling involved, sometimes the training is improvisational comedy, but usually a clown society trains members in well-known forms of costume, pantomime, songs, dance, and very common visual gags. The training includes a scripted performance.
As we all know, the final test to graduate is to ride a small bicycle through a loop-de-loop.
with crazy music playing in the background.
Mm-hmm. Is that really what it's like at clown college? It's like, oh, sorry, I can't go out tonight. I have a really big balloon animal.
I gotta study.
I mean, theater school is a thing, and clownery is an art, just like any sort of performance art. So It makes sense.
Dude, I got a huge test tomorrow. I got to cram so many handkerchiefs in my pocket. Like,
I can't think of any other clown gags.
The training also includes scripted performances or skits, which are part of a standard repertoire that, quote, never gets old and is expected by members of the culture that a clown society is embedded in, much like Bo's jokes about loads or Zach's jokes talking about RoboCop, which never get old and are expected by the culture of this podcast audience.
So, like, when you go to see a clown, like, there's things like, oh man, he didn't even do the tiny bicycle. Like, what the heck was that?
Maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there could be clown purists out there who only go for the rich OG content and just don't see it. Who knows? But before we get into the modern clowns and how we got there from the court jester area, I want to dive into the indigenous American clowns because it's really cool. I don't want to leave that for the end because I want to talk about it now. It's awesome. So ritual clowns, I don't know how these two met. I don't think they ever did meet. I think that somehow their society and Middle Ages society were just paralleled with their own clowns, but they did have clowns.
Yeah, it's parallel. What's it called in evolution? It's not parallel evolution. It's not convergent evolution.
Perpendicular evolution.
Wait, is it convergent evolution?
Who are you asking?
Ash.
Okay.
When two animals evolve very similar structures, even though they're not related at all.
Yeah, they just show up.
Yeah.
What's it called? Independent invention? I'm blanking on the term. There's a term for it.
Okay. Yeah, there's a whole thing about this in anthropology.
I'm being really bad at anthropologist right now.
That's fine.
We definitely don't both have master's degrees in anthropology.
Well, ritual clowns or Pueblo clowns are jesters and tricksters in the Kachina religion. Bo, I think Ash and Zach already know this, so if you do, please disregard this question. But Bo, I know you don't. 2 chumps in a dump for you. A little throwback. What region of the United States is Kachina practiced? Northwest, Midwest, or Southwest?
Midwest.
You also called them Pueblo clowns, right?
Yes. Bo, what about you, Ash and Zach? Bo was wrong.
Ow.
Southwest.
It is the Southwest. Shout out to the Kachina, the Indigenous Americans that live in the area. I know that they're still there. And the Arizona Coyotes had a Kachina hockey jersey, which was the coolest hockey jersey probably ever made.
And now we'll never see the light of day again.
And now we'll never see them again because their team is getting moved to Utah next season. Anyway, it's a whole different story.
I like how you can always track everything back to something related to hockey.
Hey, they're pretty cool. Look them up. The Kachina Arizona Coyotes jerseys. They're fucking sick.
You've got a very in-depth.
I do. I watch a lot of hockey. The ritual clown is a generic term. There's a number of these figures in ritual practice amongst the Pueblo people, but also other indigenous American tribes. Each has a unique role belonging to separate...
Pueblo people is a a term that encompasses a lot of different groups. So like, I mean, Pueblos are a people, but also Pueblo peoples are like a separate thing. Just want to, it's like shared common agricultural, religious practices, but they're like different groups of people.
So each one had a unique role belonging to separate kivas, that means secret societies, and each has a name that differs from one mesa or pueblo to another. The clowns performed monthly rituals: summer for rain, November for the gods, for curing society, black magic. Among the Hopi and Tiwa, there were 4 distinct clowns. Oh God, these are so complicated. I don't know if I could say these. You know what, here, I'm going to put these in chat. Bo, can you please say these?
Sure. Okay.
Oh, there's many accents that I don't know what sounds those make.
Yeah, there's a lot of accents on these words. Let me tell you. Don't know what my tongue doesn't know what to do.
Haha, that's the first one.
Koyamas. It's so weird.
Koyamasi. Yeah, it's got that.
Yeah, that's the first one.
That's first one. Hotomeli.
That's the same one. That's also called that.
Tawa Chakuti.
Same one, also called that. Next one.
Chukuwimika.
I'm so sorry for if anyone's listening to this and if you're offended, you should be.
Why are we doing this?
These words, these names are very hard to pronounce for someone who's never read them before.
Almost as though they're from a linguistic tradition that's completely
koala, not like koala, but koala.
It's koyala. That's the only one that doesn't have accents on it.
Piputo ya koyama. Arrivals.
There's a U at the end of that, but
yeah, it was silent. You're welcome.
There are 4 distinct clowns in the indigenous American clowns. Bo just clearly stated them for you. In order for a clown to perform meaningful social commentary via humor, the clown's identity must be concealed. They believe that firmly. The sacred clowns of the Pueblo people, however, do not employ masks, but rely heavily on body paint and headdresses. Among the best known orders of the sacred Pueblo clown is the Chifanetti. I think I said that right. These individuals present themselves with black and white horizontal stripes painted on their bodies and faces, paint black circles around the mouth and eyes, and part their hair in the center and bind it in 2 bunches which stand upright on each side of the head and are trimmed with corn husks.
Oh, cool.
It's pretty cool.
Love corn husks.
Love a good corn husk.
Do you think that costume would make you not able to recognize someone that you knew?
Yeah, I don't know. So like I
mean, I'll not recognize somebody if they're wearing a different hat than usual. Like,
so you're very bad at spotting undercover cops.
They've always got a stance,
or any member of the Avengers when they're undercover, they just wear a hat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wonder how much of our knowledge of this comes from all those anthropologists who hoved their way into like secret ritual areas, and everyone was like, hey, please don't publish about this, and they were like, we're totally gonna publish about this.
Well, I do actually have a little bit of thing about anthropologists who did publish things about this, but there's another one called mudheads, which sounds like a racial slur. It might be. They're usually portrayed by pinkish clay coated bodies and matching cotton bag worn over their head, and that's a vibe, and I'm totally into it.
Ah, yes, the bombastic bagman.
Yeah, exactly. But the whole, like you were saying, the hiding their identity thing is really interesting, but I do wonder if they were hiding their identity from their peers or hiding their identity from the gods themselves.
I mean, maybe both.
It's probably more of a symbolic hiding your identity than anything else. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to recognize the fact that...
Yeah, they're like, that's Jimmy.
Joe's not here. Yeah.
How big is the tribe?
Do you know if, like, they were integrated into society, like, when they were not doing the clown thing? Or, like, was it like you only come out when you're in the clown outfit?
There was one type...
This is the clown they keep in the basement.
I'm gonna cover that in a little bit. There was a sacred type of clown that was a clown all the time. But these ones, it seems like they were just for ritualistic purposes, only during certain times of the year.
Gotcha.
It is kind of weird to think, like, who chooses to be the clown? How do they apply for the position to perform the rituals without somebody finding out who they are? Or does the clown just show up at the ceremony? Like, just someone just decides, like, I'm clown today?
No, they only appear when you need them the most.
Yeah. If they do that, what if 5 of them show up?
No, they know. They know.
What kind of...
Then you've got 5
you're supposed to be
that sounds like...
on the next cycle. It's my turn this time. No,
it's my turn, Fizbo.
Do you know that it was multiple people, or was it... Because I feel like that's something, to do the rituals, you have to, like, know what they are. So you have to, like, prepare for them.
But, like, what kind of clowning around or buffoonery happens to see who does the ceremony. If 5 of them do show up, like, is there clown tests and like a game show? I don't know. I want to learn more about this, but
I assume there's rules.
I couldn't find anything about who would be the clown or who was chosen to be the clown. I'm sure there was a process that we will never know.
Did you read any of the books that you said that they wrote about this?
Did not, but the anthropologists have talked about this, most notably Adolf Bandelier in his 1890 book, The Delight Makers, and Elsie Clews Parsons.
Oh, that's probably garbage.
Who'd you say it was written by?
Adolf Bandelier.
I don't want to generalize, but any anthropology written in the 1800s is just going to be awful.
Okay.
It's probably going to be extremely racist. It's probably not. There's a high chance that it's not even interpreting what's actually happening correctly.
Jesus Christ. Well, here's what just
tell us what he says.
Here's what he said. No. And then Elise Clews Parsons in her Pueblo Indian religion have extensively studied the meaning of the Pueblo clowns and clown society in general. Bandelier notes that the Suku were somewhat feared by the Hopi as a source of public criticism and censure of non-Hopi-like behavior. So any clown that came out and acted not like a Hopi, they did not like, and they honestly feared them. Their function can help diffuse community tensions by providing their own humorous interpretation of the tribe's popular culture, by reinforcing taboos, by communicating traditions. This was very interesting, this next part, though. A 1656 case of a young Hopi man impersonating the resident Franciscan priest at Awatovi is thought to be a historic instance of Pueblo clowning. When I read this sentence, I was like, what the hell case is this? Turns out a young Hopi man was arrested for petty theft and buffoonery in 1656. He stole a bunch of stuff from some sort of shop. And his main defense was that, he was just clowning around. And he was making a joke about society by stealing their goods.
It's just a joke, bro. It's just a joke.
I'm very astounded by this. However, I had to pay $57 to read the whole thing, and I wasn't going to do that, so I don't know if he was guilty or not. But I think that's really interesting that they tried to get out of a crime by claiming that they were a clown.
I mean, were they doing buffoonery? Was it truthful?
Was buffoonery illegal?
I'm sure that anything was illegal if a Native American was doing it.
Yeah, that's true.
They would have found a reason to make it illegal.
But this, for these first clowns that we've talked about, the ritualistic clowns, I think this is really cool because they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to dress up, I don't think, but they did. They chose to. They wanted to make a fun way out of doing these rituals. And who knows, maybe they felt that it made it more special. I'm not sure, but I think it's pretty cool that they still somehow did, though, rope in, making humorous interpretations of the culture, which is really interesting how they did that without knowing that it was happening in fucking, Europe hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years before too. It's pretty effing cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's people gonna be people. People just want to do goofs.
I like the idea of going to religious ceremonies and it being humorous. That would make me want to go more.
I'd go to church more.
Yeah, that's the main reason why I don't go to church.
Honestly,
yeah.
Same.
It's just so fucking boring.
Like, I don't go to church. It's boring. If they had clowns there, who knows?
And if the point of your church is to point out in a humorous way, what's wrong with your society, and you agree with the way that you think it should be, that's cool,
Mm-hmm.
So Ash, you were asking about if people were clowns all the time. I did find an instance of this. It's called a heyoka.
How are you doing?
A kind of sacred... hey, how are you? A kind of sacred clown in the culture of the Sioux, the Lakota and Dakota people, of the Great Plains of North America. These people who lived on the outside of the constraints of normal cultural rules, playing the role of a backwards clown by doing everything in reverse. They speak, move,
the Bizarro.
Yeah, they
Bizarro
speak,
clowns.
move, and react in an opposite fashion to the people around them. To become one, only those having visions of, or those who are visited by, the, quote, thunder beings of the West, the Wakaian, I think is how you say that,
Wakandas.
are who are recognized by such a community and can take on the ceremonial role as the heyoka. So they would be crazy 24/7. They would do the opposite of whatever everyone did all the time.
That's wild.
I don't know why they would do this.
Honestly, it sounds exhausting.
It does. It says here the heyoka is thought of as being in charge of above and below, or more in charge of the dead instead of the living. This manifests by their doing not always everything like everybody else. For example, if food is scarce, the Hakoya may sit around and complain how full he is, During a baking hot heat wave, the Hakoya might shiver with cold and put on gloves and cover himself up with a thick blanket. Similarly, when it's freezing at night, he would wander around naked, complaining that it's too hot. And it says, a unique example is the most famous Hakoya sacred clown called the Straighten Outer, who was quoted by a journalist saying, he was always running around with a hammer trying to flatten round and curvy things, like soup bowls, eggs, wagon wheels, etc., thus making them straight. This one doesn't make a lot of sense to me. He's just a crazy guy who does everything backwards 24/7.
I respect him. His commitment to the bit is top tier.
Yeah, but is he I don't really know why.
It's
if
the
it's
same,
going to be freezing.
I mean, it's the same thing, right? Though it's to point out things about society in a like, I guess, subversive way in order to establish the correct way that things should be societally. Like, it's the same thing.
Yeah, that does make sense. But I don't think that would be funny or buffoonery, though, because I think if it's freezing outside and he's running around naked, that's just not funny. I feel bad for this person. But then again, clowns also, they're not all about being funny. We'll cover that in a little bit. So that's the main portion of the indigenous American clowns. But we're going to hop back over to Europe now and get a little bit more history. So the ancient roots of it, 2400 BCE, we covered that a little bit. Clowns can trace their origins back to ancient civilizations, ancient Egypt. Pygmy clowns, court jesters, entertains pharaohs and their guests with humorous antics and witty remarks. In imperial China, a court clown called the Yuzi, I think I said that right, was, according to the lore, the only guy who could poke holes in the Emperor Qin Huang's plan to paint the Great Wall of China, which is hilarious.
What color did he want to paint it?
I don't know. I wish I looked that up. In ancient Greek and Roman theater, they featured, quote, rustic fools who use physical comedy and exaggerated gestures to entertain their audiences. And ancient Rome's clown was a stock fool called Stupidus, which is just such a good name.
I love that.
Stupidus is like, oh, it's so good. I want to call people
clown,
that.
yeah.
I'm calling people that like all the time now. And then, back to medieval Europe, we talked about it a little bit. Jesters and fools were common figures in royal courts and were a sanctioned way for people under the feudal thumb to laugh at the guys in charge, using satire and humor to comment on social and political issues. So we're going to move forward a little bit to Italy, something called the Commedia dell'arte.
The Commedia dell'arte.
Thank you for that.
The comedy of the arts.
Yes. So this is a huge part for clowning, for buffoonery in general. The buffoonery origins, one would say. In the 16th century, Italy gave rise to the, what is it called again?
Commedia dell'arte.
Thank you. A form of professional theater characterized by improvised performances and stock characters. This is widely considered as the origins of modern buffoonery. The clown character developed out of the zany rustic fool characters from the early, that we already talked about, based off the rustic fool characters of the Greek and Roman theater. But they've kind of brought them into their own in this area. A character of the clown, also known as the Harlequin, was a mischievous and acrobatic figure dressed up in colorful costume with a diamond pattern design.
Was it red and white and black?
It was.
Ah.
Yeah, Harlequins, I imagine, like doing cartwheels and shit.
Yeah, they're more acrobatic.
He cartwheels up to you and is like, says something sassy and then cartwheels away.
And Italian too. It's terrifying. The word clown started popping up in Italy and England around 1600 to describe these clowns. No real way to know how the word got from Iceland to here.
Yeah, word travels fast.
Yeah, but somehow it did. I did find out that Shakespeare started using it in his plays, and I think that really popularized the word clown around this time.
Oh yeah, that dude was a trendsetter.
He was, and this is usually when this is when he was like big. So when he started using the word clown, everyone's like, yes, here, ha ha, stuff like that. The beginning of clowns as the, quote, modern origins of buffoonery started here at the Commedia dell'arte. What was it called, Ash? The
Comedy of the arts, I think?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Something like that.
This moves us on to evolution in England. In England, clowns evolved from the medieval fool to the modern circus clown. There's a guy named Joseph Grimaldi, an English actor and clown. He's often credited with creating the modern clown character, the way that they actually look, in the early 19th century. This article from the Smithsonian Magazine, it's titled The History and Psychology of Clowns Being Scary, quotes, Grimaldi was the first recognizable ancestor of the modern clown. Sort of the Homo erectus of clown evolution.
Proto-clown.
Yeah, proto-clown.
Clowno erectus.
No one wants an erectus clown.
Proto clown.
Did you say
Proto clown was the name of a writer on a website that I used to read a lot when I was a teenager. It was called imockery.com. And Proto Clown was.
I hear you typing. Are you going there?
Yeah, Proto Clown was one of the contributors.
What was that, Ash?
You said his name was Robert Grimaldi?
Bob Grimmy.
Joseph Grimaldi.
Joseph Grimaldi. I feel like that.
Joey Grims.
It's fine.
Is that what?
Nothing. I feel like that name sounds familiar for some reason, but I don't know why.
Okay. I mean, he was very famous, apparently.
I feel like it's from a movie. I feel like it's a character name in a movie, but I don't have it.
Could be. I'm not sure. To continue the quote, though, it says, before him, a clown may have worn makeup, but it was usually just a bit of rouge on the cheeks to heighten the sense of them being florid, funny drunks, or rustic yokels. Grimaldi, however, suited up in bizarre, colorful costumes, stark white face paint, punctuated by spots of bright red on his cheeks, and topped with a blue mohawk. He was a master of physical comedy.
Love
He
it.
leapt in the air, stood on his head, fought himself in hilarious fisticuffs that had audiences rolling in the aisles, as well as the satire of lampooning the absurd fashions of the day, comic impressions, and ribald songs.
He fought himself.
What year did you say this was?
He fought himself, yeah.
I
It says
love
the
that.
1900s. Let me
Okay.
find the
Like
exact date.
Fought himself like Edward Norton in Fight Club.
Yes.
Or Dwight in that
That's
one
what-
episode of The Office.
Yeah.
That's classic buffoonery.
Let's see. It says that he died 1837, so I
Oh.
assume before that. But if you look up Joseph Grimaldi, there's some very interesting pictures of what he looked like as a clown, and it was it looks like the terrifying one that most people are terrified these days. It's kind of fucking horrifying. Now we're going to move on to the modern circus clown that we talked about at the beginning. So the modern circus,
Those ones.
exactly those ones. The
Okay,
modern
cool.
circus itself derives from a man named Philip. Okay.
I just wanted to put it out there, Bo, did you know that song, the do is Entrance of the Gladiators?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be about gladiators.
Yeah, I knew
What?
that.
It's fun.
Yeah. Don't try to dump on me during Andrew's show.
It's about
I just think
gladiators.
that's
Also,
yeah.
I just posted a picture in chat. That's Joseph Grimaldi.
I looked up a picture
Entry
of
of the
it,
Gladiators.
and I saw a quote from an article that says, it's unsettling because it is superimposed childlike body adornment over a distinctly adult body. And it's like, yeah, that's
Oh,
creepy.
No,
Like it's an adult man wearing kids' clothes. That's kind of weird.
don't describe it like that. That makes it.
I also think that the
already
artist
bad.
here is not doing him any favors by giving him the craziest eyes I've ever seen.
But
Yeah.
that's probably what he looked like. We'll post this on the Instagram.
The mohawk
Old
is
crazy eyes Grimaldi.
very interesting.
I like the mohawk. I'm into that. So going back to the modern circus. The modern circus derives from a man named Philip Astley. He owned something called London's Riding School, which opened in 1768.
Astley.
And it had to do with, it was Rick Astley's grandpa. No, that's a lie. But let me tell you, he was never going to give this up because he was
Did he let
he
it
was
go?
There it is.
he was known as the father of the modern circus. So the London Riding School, it was an equestrian touring thing where he would, I guess, bring horses around and do horse stunts or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, Philip
Horse
Astley, he was a European circus owner. He was known as the father of the modern circus. He was an inventor. And from the pictures I found of him, he was a chunky boy,
Ooh.
which I will post a picture of him in the chat.
Oh wow.
Look at that belly. Look at him go.
And that's not just chunky by 1800 standards. That man's chunky by today's standards.
He's a big
Yeah.
boy. He's a big
Oh my
boy.
gosh. Can we go back to Grimaldi for just 1 second?
Oh yeah, totally.
In this same article I saw that said that, it said he was known for acrobatic prowess, as well as prodigious and repulsive acts of eating, strange contortions, and bizarre facial expressions. He invoked catchphrases such as "Here we go again" and the slightly demonic "Shall I?", which he would ask the audience before embarking on new mischief.
Oh my, he was the first to do that?
I mean, I don't know if he was the first, but he did it.
They said that he was the innovator. He was the one who started, modern clowning. Like he's the guy. He made it. So that does make sense. Shall I?
Neither boy nor harlequin, Grimaldi's clown was something entirely different. A temporally non-specific man-child, quote unquote, says the person they're quoting in this article, with a nickname of Joey.
That's awesome. Didn't know that.
Old Joey. Shall I?
That's great.
And then he
love it so
eats a
much.
giant sandwich or something? Like, what does that mean? Anyway,
He's
sorry, go ahead.
Look at this sandwich. Shall I? And then he eats it from the front and then he turns it around backwards and eats it like the guy in the space episode. who's a fucking
Or he just
clown.
like starts smashing it against his face.
Yeah, call back to space episode. Let's see, where was I? Astley, he was a chonky boy, but he owned the equestrian thing. So he added a clown to his shows to amuse the spectators between equestrian sequences. There's an American comedian named George L. Fox who became known for his clown role, directly improvised by Grimaldi in the 1860s. There's another guy named Tom Belling Sr. who developed the Red Clown, or Auguste, the drummer August, I guess, character in 1870, acting as a foil or for the more sophisticated white clown. So the red clown was the crazy one, and the white clown was somehow sophisticated, even though it was a clown.
Old Angel and Neville situation.
Your clown straight man.
Exactly. Belling worked for the
Abbott
circus.
And your Costello.
Yeah, who's on clown? Belling worked for Circus Rennes in Vienna. Belling's costume became the template for modern stock characters of clowns, or the children's clown, Ash, as you were saying, based on lower class or hobo characters with a red nose, white makeup around the eyes and mouth, and oversized clothes and shoes. The clown character, as developed by the late 19th century, is reflected in Ruggiero's, I can't even know this guy's name, in some guy named Ruggero Lecconvallo's 1892 opera, Pagliacci, which I know a lot of people know about. He's a sad clown, but how can clowns be sad if they're so happy all the time? That's the thing. That's it. You saw the play. Belling's Augusta character was further popularized by Nikolai
It's an opera.
Polyakov Coco in the 1920s and 1930s. But now that I'm reading this back to myself, I didn't think about this before. This guy had a bunch of horses doing equestrian sequences, and in between he had a bunch of clowns come out. Is that why rodeo clowns exist?
Ooh.
Probably.
I mean, maybe.
That's the only thing I could think of. Because, like, think about it now. You know, horse followed by clown.
Well, the rodeo clowns are when they're doing bull stuff, right?
I think they're always there.
And they need somebody to distract the bull.
No, they're also comedy acts in between when they're getting ready to set up in between events.
It is true. They still do that. That's interesting. I didn't think about that when I was writing these down. Learn all the sponge. I'm dumping on myself right now. The self dump. That's fucking wild that it's still around this day. That was 1768. It's 2024. What the hell? Oh, okay. Anyway, so now we're going to be moving to the American side of it. In the early 20th century, with the disappearance of the rustic simpleton or village idiot character of the everyday experience, North American circuses developed characters such as the tramp or the hobo. They were often described as a funny man with a drinking problem.
See, this is sad because you're just making fun of alcoholics.
Like Bo.
Like Bo.
Hey.
And instead of getting help for their alcoholism, everyone's like, let's make characters and laugh at them.
Like, look at that guy.
You're so drunk.
He's walking around with all of his belongings on a stick. This idiot. Let's laugh at him. In the United States, though, clowns became popular in circuses and traveling shows, kind of like how Philip Astley's happened. So that's, like that. And then the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, founded in the late 19th century, featured elaborate clown acts as part of its performances. But this also makes me think back to the professional wrestling episode. Pro wrestling started this exact way at traveling circuses from town to town, which begs the question, did the wrestling strongmen ever wrestle clowns? And if so, why was I born now and I hate everything?
Yeah, I can see that is definitely something that I would have loved to see. It's kind of astonishing how much of our modern culture can be descended from traveling circuses.
We have a friend
nuts.
that is really into the history of circuses, and gotta do an episode about that. Shout out to Rachel.
Rachel, please come on the
come and tell us about circuses.
Please. I want to know more about this. Let's see, where was I? Yeah, hating my life. So, although I do know this, there has been only one, to my knowledge, professional wrestler who was a clown. Do you know who it is?
Shit. I should know this.
Long time ago, WWF, WWE. He's in the N64 game. Zach, you should know this.
I'm still. Is he doing that stupid motion where he's waving? His arms are like elf shaped.
I have no idea what you're saying.
Okay, never mind. Carry on.
It was Doink the Clown. there was a wrestler called Doink the Clown. Oh no, sorry. There were two professional wrestling clowns. His sidekick Dink, essentially his mini me, would be with him.
Oh my god, Dink and Doink.
Dink and Doink. That was wrestling's
Phenomenal.
amazing. Wrestling's amazing. It's great. But then I also learned a little bit about Canadian influences, which is kind of fascinating when I was reading about this.
Clownadia.
So Canadian clowning or Canadian buffoonery. The Canadian clowning method, developed by a guy named Richard Pachinko and furthered by his former apprentice by the name of Sue Morrison, combines European and Native American clowning techniques. In this tradition, masks are made of clay, while the creator's eyes are closed. A mask is made for each direction of the medicine wheel. During this process, the clown creates a personal mythology that explores their own personal experiences. This is it gets real deep. Pachinko taught clowning as sort of a, quote, reverse therapy, in which instead of riddling oneself of anxieties, the clown performer leans into their own insecurities and foibles in order to package them as comedy. Quote, get applauded for your idiosyncrasies was one of his key mottos as a trainer. According to Michael Mump Kennard, one of the most prominent practitioners and trainers of Canadian clowning since Pachinko's death in 1989, quote, clowns should be fun no matter what the topic is, but the comedy has to come from tragedy. You can't just go about and be funny all the time. It has no meaning. It still has to be real, because if it's not real, the audience has nothing to relate to.
Damn, method acting clowning.
Oh.
That's very interesting. Like there's the goofy ones that are running around like honking their horns and stuff. And then in Canada, there's just a bunch of depressed clowns walking around.
Bunch of fucking Gary Oldman clowns.
Yeah.
Who has ever heard of a sad clown?
And then you said they got clay on their faces? They're just blind all the time?
They had clay all over their faces. It says the creator's eyes are closed. I don't know what they mean by that. I'm going to have to look that up more.
That's challenge mode, blind clowning.
This is straight up. That's probably why they're so sad. They can't see anything.
Most clowning.
There's just a clown in his outfit in a rainy back alley somewhere, just like hauntingly smoking a cigarette, and then he finishes it, flicks it into the street, puts on his clay mask, and fumbles for the door.
He throws his poutine away.
And as he says,
there,
showtime.
Showtimey.
It's showtime.
Another day, another dollar.
Another Canadian dollar.
Another
most clowning
toonie.
techniques.
Another loony.
Another loony. Most clowning techniques, Eastern and European and etc. Focus on basic structure and formalism as the basis of which to start story creation. The Pachinko clown begins by focusing on one's personal, naturally occurring emotions and impulses, and then structuring that creative license into a story and performance. One of the most significant distinctions between Pachinko's, quote, Canadian clown technique and other clowning traditions is that Pachinko drew on First Nations performance traditions. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's going from being a goofy drunk guy to actually making some form of art, but it's also really sad.
Yeah.
But they're also doing the Shakespeare thing, like comedy is tragedy. I don't know. I get it. It's a little over the top. It's fine.
That's wild.
It's fine.
Pretty cool.
Pretty sweet.
Just read something horrifying about Grimaldi.
I would love for you to say it.
This is from the same article. This is an article from Daily JSTOR. It says, Grimaldi's behavior in his final days morphed him from public eye into another type, the sad clown. He lived in hovels and attempted mutual suicide with his second wife. The public's
Whoa.
Hold on. Pump the brakes. How?
It doesn't say. The public's knowledge of Grimaldi's transformation from Joey, the acrobatic, white-caked, and grotesque-mouthed trickster, to this woeful creature demonstrated precisely how humor and tragedy intertwine. What we were just talking about.
Damn.
The clown,
he left it all on the table.
The clown himself joked about his struggles. Quote, I am grim all day, but I make you laugh at night, unquote. Because his name is Grimaldi. I am grim all day, but I make you laugh at night.
Oh, he's
God, dude, this guy is, even when he's depressed as fuck, he is great.
And then he apparently drank himself to death in 1837.
Oh, that's sad.
Do me a favor, listeners. Do me a favor. Check on your clown friends. Make sure they're okay.
Yeah, if local clowns, check them out.
Especially if they're from Canada. Especially if you know any clowns from Canada.
If they're from Canada.
Just check in and just make sure that they're doing all right.
You're like, hey, I hear you. I hear your honking. I see you. I see your crazy clothes.
I see your tiny car. I see you. All right. I see you back there too. I see you, and I see you. I
see your tiny bicycle. I see all of your handkerchiefs, even though I can't see them right now, but I know they're on your body somewhere.
Hong Kong.
So we've went from where they started, from Egypt to the Middle Ages to Italy to China to Indigenous Americans to London to America, now to Canada. Clowns have been around for a while, and they have seen a lot of shit and changed a lot of ways. So I'm going to end this podcast, though, with clowns in media. Just going to name a few clowns here that actually became mega stars.
That clown that did singing, it was on America's Got Talent.
Oh, I forgot about that. What was that guy's name?
I don't remember.
Clownzo, the singing clown.
Oh God, I knew it. I know this. Singo,
that's better.
No, that's not his name.
It is now.
Puddles, the sad singing clown.
Puddles Puddles the sad singing clown. He would sing covers, but you know what? He was very good at it. Shout out to Puddles. But also, in 1946, a read-along book set for children was created, starring none other than a goofy buffoon known as Bozo the Clown. Bo's nemesis.
Fuck that guy.
It was a smash hit. He became so popular that he became the official mascot of Capitol Records. True story. I didn't know that a record company needed a mascot,
That's wild.
but they did, and it was Bozo the Clown.
Everything had a mascot back then.
That's insane. In 1949, Bozo appeared on TV for the first time, and let me tell you, the fucking people loved him. They were like, holy shit, this clown, he's got it. He's got moxie. He was so popular that a few years later, his rights were actually bought by a producer named Larry Harmon, and The Bozo Show premiered in 1960 and appeared nationally on cable television, which is fucking wild that there was just a clown show. But then again, it was the 60s. It was weird. We all know the 60s were weird.
Oh, yeah.
In the time that Bozo...
Cable television existed in the 60s?
Cable television started in the 20s, 30s?
Cable or
I don't know about cable, but television
like
itself has been around since like
broadcast?
1928 or something like that. But yeah, that 1960 broadcast television was a thing. And I guess this was kind of weird. I was reading about this. Bozo was played by a lot of different people based on regions. And I couldn't really wrap my head around it, and it was really weird, but...
franchising.
Probably just
That's
because
where the
everything was
money's
way
at.
smaller operation back then. So like you needed a Bozo show here, you needed a Bozo show to go there.
Exactly. So with that, Bozo has been played by at least 86 different people in an official capacity over the years, all the way up to 2001, which is fucking crazy.
I mean, slap the Bozo makeup on someone as long as they're the general size. That's fine.
Shape of the person. Yeah. And weirdly enough, this even weirder, David Arquette purchased the rights to Bozo the Clown's character from Larry Harmon Pictures in 2021. Couldn't figure out why.
David
I just
Arquette,
read that and
why
I
do
was
you
like,
want Bozo
what?
the Clown?
Yeah, maybe he just loves Bozo the Clown so much that he wanted to own him.
Ugh.
Now, if anyone dresses up like Bozo the Clown, though, he can sue the fuck out of him and get that Bozo money. Another clown, everyone knows him. When you think about eating burgers,
It's Ronald.
Oh, fucking Ron.
Ronald
McDonald, derived as its mascot's clown from the Bozo character, essentially. They kind of stole his look in the 1960s. Willard Scott, who actually played Bozo during 1959 and 1962, performed as Ronald McDonald on television spots.
Slinging
And,
burgers
he's no longer-
and curing kids from cancer that they
Yeah, he's
caused
no
with their
longer around.
burgers.
McDonald's kind of, they kind of pushed away from the whole clown thing after a while, which is probably a good move because, people are scared of him.
And it's fucked up to be like, come children, eat our terrible burgers.
Yeah, and it says that Super Size Me actually had a huge part in getting rid of Ronald McDonald because when people thought about Ronald McDonald after that came out, they would think about obesity. So they kind of...
Well, there you go.
They kind of pushed him out. There's like because I wasn't quite
Ronald
quitting.
McDonald sound like? I can't think of a voice.
Zach, go ahead and do it.
Hey kids, I'm Ronald McDonald. Why don't you come to McDonald Land where we've got Grimace and Mayor McCheese?
Oh, there goes the Hamburglar again.
Hamburglar. Hamburglar, no burglar. Don't burgle my burgers.
Swiper, no swiping.
Shoot him. He's a burglar.
Yeah.
Why is he dressed like a burglar?
He's stealing your burgers.
Yeah, but like he would do so much better if he didn't. Like if somebody walked in dressed like a burglar, the first thing I would do is be like, I'm gonna hold my shit a little closer to me.
He's concealing his identity. What have we been talking about this whole time?
I don't know.
Clowns?
It's clownery. He's one of those full-time method acting clowners.
But also, isn't he like
What the fuck
dressed
is
like
Grimace?
something that he's not? I remember something weird being about the Hamburglar.
Yeah,
he's got a cape.
He's got a cape.
Oh, that's it.
And he's wearing like a prison outfit, I think.
Yeah, well, because he just busted out of the clink, and he's got to get a burger.
He's hungry. He hasn't eaten in
He's
days.
And the
Going
thing
back
that he
to
needs
crime.
is more. Count more burgers.
He falls off the wagon immediately.
He just can't.
He's
He just can't
institutionalized.
lay off this burger sauce.
He gets let out of jail, and before he can even change, he realizes that the world has changed while he was in the joint.
Yeah.
These bars are less like a prison and more like home. So he does the only thing that he can think of, which is commit more crimes so that he can get
Stealing
sent back to
hamburgers.
jail. The only place that's familiar to him after so much time spent behind bars.
That's true. They do say if someone commits a crime, they're likely to go back to the scene of the crime. So every McDonald's ever. Gotta watch out. Anyway, that begs the question though, who are your guys' favorite clowns?
Pogo the clown.
Roxo, we talked about him earlier.
Dr. Roxo. I think my personal favorite, Herschel, Schmeckel, Pinchas, Yurocham, Krustovsky.
Krusty.
Krusty the Clown. I think he's the perfect iteration of Krusty, of clowning in general. He's absolutely nuts. He has a TV show for some reason. The kids love him, even though most kids don't in real life. I love Krusty the Clown. I think he's great.
Did you ever hear the theory that in like the early seasons of The Simpsons, they were going to eventually reveal that Krusty the Clown was actually Homer, like in makeup?
I did hear that, but that would not make any fucking sense.
Have you ever seen Krusty and Homer in the same room together?
Yes.
Many times.
Multiple
So many times. What about you guys? Like, what other clowns do you actually know of?
I can't think of any clowns.
Pogo the Clown, but that was just John Wayne Gacy.
Yes, you are correct.
Pennywise.
I can't think of
Pennywise.
I can't think of any. Yeah, Pennywise.
That's I was thinking to myself, like, how many clowns do I actually know? And the answer was none.
Yeah,
other than Krusty the Clown and like
Krusty,
Bozo.
Ronald, Bozo, and Roxo.
Yeah, that's
I
really
can't think of any like famous clowns.
And the singing clown.
Well, now you know Joseph Grimaldi.
Yeah,
and you know Pagliacci, and you know everyone in Canada that is wildly depressed.
Did you hear about the eggs when you were researching for this? Did you learn about the clown eggs?
What?
There's like an English clown society of professional clowns, and they like a big thing.
Do you know? Did you know this the whole time? I gotta know.
I was waiting for you. I wanted to see if you bring it up. It's like one of the only things I know about clowns. No, okay. I did know this. It's one of the only things I know about like professional clownery. Is that so? Like a big thing about being a professional clown is having your own unique face makeup. Like that's what makes you like recognizable as your clown persona, right? As your clown sona, so to speak. And so what the professional clowns did at this, like who belonged to this like clown union in England, is they would paint their face makeup onto an egg, and then they would keep all of the eggs in like this egg repository, and that was like how they patented their clown makeup.
What?
That is
they can't just use paper? Why would they use eggs?
Because the egg is the approximate shape of a human head.
But it's gonna go bad.
I don't know. Maybe they use emptied egg shells or boiled eggs. I don't know.
Maybe that one's rotten. You don't have the patent anymore. Sorry, there. Clown name, Jumper Jingus. I don't know.
Jumper Jingus. That's it.
But yeah, so that's how they would make sure that nobody was like stealing some other clown's face makeup.
This is real eggs were originally used, but were later replaced with ceramic eggs.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. It's the shape of a head.
Wow.
You know, otherwise you'd have to worry about like, you know, getting your like Mercator projection.
I don't know what that is.
Correct. It's one of the projections that they use to make flat maps, because like the globe is circular shaped, so you have to change the shape of everything when you're making a flat map.
Anyway, clowns.
I make sense. I understand why you would do it on an egg.
Okay, that's fine. It's shaped like a head. I get it. It's cool.
I read something else about Grimaldi. Do you want to hear it?
Hell yeah, let's go for it.
Apparently, in his own memoir that he wrote in 1887. He said that he visited a famed surgeon to find a cure for his melancholy because he was hella depressed.
He was depressed as fuck.
The doctor suggested he pursue relaxation and amusement, sometimes perhaps at a theater, and go see Grimaldi.
Did he tell him to go see himself? Yeah, that's the story of Pagliacci.
And he said, alas.
Yeah, that's the Pagliacci story.
Replied the patient, that is of no avail to me. I am Grimaldi.
But I'm...
Yes, but doctor, I am Pagliacci. I've heard this story before.
That's
also the Joker.
He said, oh, you're fucked.
That's true. And you're fucked, bro.
I'm thinking, remembering types of clowns.
He's like, oh, well, let's go see another clown, idiot.
Apparently, I don't know if he made it up or not, but he said in his memoir that happened to him.
Wow, that's fucking sad. Well, speaking of sad, that was our episode. It's at the end now. Thank you for listening about clowns.
You're welcome.
I learned so much when I was making this. I did not know where this was going to go. I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to dive. I'm going to dive head first in and see where this goes. And I really enjoyed reading a lot about the difference between clowns and jesters, in anthropological ways, how they're different, like the way they show society differently, like things to do the wrong way or ordinary way of doing things is wrong. Very interesting, but also the American side with the indigenous Americans. I love that side. It's so cool. The crazy guy doing everything backwards, walking around naked when it's freezing out, wearing jackets when it's hot out. Classic.
I also forever ago looked up the etymology of bozo, because you asked that like forever ago, Zach.
Yeah.
And from a cursory glance at Wikipedia, it says that it's been around since the 1910s. It's of uncertain origin. may derive from a Spanish word originally for a recently imported slave and then someone who speaks Spanish poorly. So it started maybe as a slur.
Whoa.
May also be a unlikely, but could be a derivation of a French term for a derogative term for a farmer, equivalent to bumpkin. Could also be Japanese in origin, meaning of a young man, which can be derogatory depending on context. So the
What the hell?
origin of bozo is not great.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
If you think of something old, though, they would always do that.
Yes.
They would take something horrible and use it all the time and be like, it's fine. And then not realize until later how fucked up it was.
And now,
It's fine.
Mainly
and
their kids
now
would figure it out.
means a stupid, foolish, or ridiculous person, especially a man. That's kind of like
you bozo.
what I meant.
Yeah, bozo.
You bozo.
I heard the kids are calling people bozo again now. It's like a thing that people do like more often. They're revitalizing calling somebody bozo.
I'm cool with that. I like that. It's fine. It's not as bad as calling somebody something like people know what bozo means now. It's just you idiot. Well, speaking of
Coming in
idiots,
with your bozos.
oh God, stop it. So I want to end this podcast though with a fun little game. Before I ask you what your favorite things are, give yourself a clown name. I want to know.
Oh, I wonder what I'd pick.
No, Bo, it's your own. You don't have
okay.
to. You can break the social
You're right,
norms
you're
of
right.
calling yourself bozo.
Okay. Zobo.
Perfect. See, that's exactly what clowning's about.
I'm the anti-bozo.
Exactly. It's doing something differently that others would expect you to do. So instead of being bozo, you're zobo. That's beautiful. That fits it. I love it.
I want to be Doofus the Clown.
Okay. Ash,
I don't know.
if you don't think of one, we're going to give you one.
I don't know.
Your name is now Brembo. Brembo the Clown.
What does that mean?
Brembo?
No. Your name is Bolus the Clown.
I do grotesque eating acts.
Call back previous episode. Please listen.
Yeah.
Mine would be King Toots because I fart a lot. That's my whole. That's gonna be my act.
Fantastic.
I'm just gonna fart on
You'll
people.
be a flatulist.
Yes, the flatulent
That'll be
clown.
Your clown.
He's always full of
archetype.
hot gas. Okay. Thanks for listening to my clown episode. Ash, what was your favorite thing?
You basically like listed everything at the end, and like
You did?
so like, but
What was your favorite part?
I liked a lot of different aspects of it. I love the different types of clowns that there are and how many societies have clowns. I like the guy that did everything backwards. I like this. Yeah, I like everything. Like reading about Grimaldi. That was great.
Yeah, that guy's nuts. What about you, Zach?
I like the
Big butts, and I cannot lie.
Yeah. That's it.
Clown butts.
Mm-hmm.
Bo, what about you?
Oh, I can tell you the thing I hate. I stole your bit. Bozo.
That's fine. Someone has to do it.
Fuck that guy.
I just hate Bozo.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like the idea of franchising your clown sona.
We're gonna make Zobo the Clown show
It's gonna
on
be
Disney Plus.
It's gonna be awful.
streaming on Paramount Plus. It's gonna be terrible.
TV
My
in
favorite
it.
thing, or my favorite thing, I think, was learning about the Indigenous American ones. I think that's really cool. But also, it's kind of dumping on myself and realizing that rodeo clowns are probably there because of what we went over in this episode, which blew my fucking mind. So I think that's dope as shit.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, what is rodeo but a traveling circus act?
Exactly. That's pretty much exactly it. So thanks for listening, Bo. Take us out.
Aha, my time to shine. Hey, Andrew. Thanks for clowning around with us and doing that clown episode. I just came up with that on the fly. Fuck,
Wow.
I'm good at this.
Good job, Zobo.
I'm your end host. I had it going, then I lost it, but it's all good. Anyway, perfect. Well, another fantastic episode in the books, I'd say. Zach, tell us where to find us at.
Hey, you can find us on Instagram at Get Dumped On Podcast. You can find us on Reddit, also Get Dumped On Podcast. You can find us by emailing us, getdumpedonpodcast@gmail.com. You can also come to my house if you find it.
Don't say that.
You just said it.
Please
They're
take
coming.
that out.
They're coming.
They're coming.
I hate that.
I'll post your address on the Instagram.
Do not come to our house.
No, you have to find out on your
Nope.
own. If you
Don't
are able to
investigate.
find out on
Don't
your
have
own.
people
Don't
on TikTok are
investigate
incredible.
into our house. Don't try to find out where we live. Please do not come to our house. Andrew, please cut all of this out.
All right, we'll
I'm
see you next week.
1,000% serious.
See you guys later. Keep clowning around.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Ash and Zach are super smart. They went to college and learned a bunch of stuff. And Bo and Andrew didn't go to college and were able to sidestep mountains of unnecessary debt. What happens when you put them together and you try to make 'em learn. Well, grab your friends, let's listen together on Get Dumped On, an info dump podcast.